In this video, I am going to show you how to load a sample data to practice SQL. This database is going to be Sakila database. It is supposed to simulate a DVD store database, a backend of a DVD store. Basically, it's a very common database made for this purpose, for practice. Let's quickly take a look at it. So it's called Sakila. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing it right. And inside of it, there are a lot of tables. Several tables. There is an actors table, address table, category, city, film. The film table has a lot of rows. If I do right click and run, as you can see, there are a bunch of data in there. And this sample database is available for everybody to install. It's a great resource to practice SQL, and I do use it in my MySQL full course. If you're interested in that, check out my website, and I put a link in the description. So in that course, I use this database, the Sakila database. I use the world database and the employees database, and one other ecom database that I created myself. It just simulates the backend of an e-commerce website. So we practice SQL using that. So in this one, I'm going to show you how to install the Sakila database with its data. So the requirements are you have to have a MySQL database running. My suggestion is to use MAMP. I'm going to link a video on how to install MAMP. So install MAMP, that will give you a database on your computer, basically really easy way. So the MAMP will be the server, and Workbench, this is what you see here is MySQL Workbench, is the client, and it's really user-friendly client. So it's really popular, and you have to use that. I recommend you use that because it's really popular, and that needs to go under your your skill set. So let's start by first you make a connection. I'm assuming you create a connection. Look at that video on how to install a database and connect to it. Okay, database server. So this database, first thing I want to do is I want to actually drop it. I want to delete it because I want to install it again. So I can just right click here and click on drop schema, or I can literally type it out. I can say drop schema Sakila, right? Or I can do drop database, one of the two. So it's gone, it's deleted. You just saw it disappear here. So we're going to load it again. So how do we do that? First, go to Google and start searching for sample database Sakila, okay? So I'm going to show you how to search for it just in case things change, but I'm going to put a link, a direct link in the description. So just go to the description and click on the link to get to the download site. So in the search result, the first thing that shows up is Sakila sample database, and there's a lot of instructions, the rules and regulations, all kinds of things, and read all that, make sure you understand it, you accept it. Then go to installation section. So installation section shows you how to install it from the command line. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it from the command line, but Workbench is a lot easier for this one. So at first I'm going to show you how to do it on Workbench. Then we're going to actually load it up using the command line. There are two files. First, it loads the schema, basically all the structure of the database and the tables. Then it actually loads the database, the data. So we're going to run two queries, okay, two query files. So here it has all the instruction, but it is specifically for the command line. I'm going to show you how to do it in Workbench. So first we have to get the actual data. So there is a link here on top. There's a link here. This is the link I'm going to put in the description. So the link in the description will take you directly here. There's a database. There's several databases here. There is an employee database, which is one of the most popular. I have a video for that as well. There's a world database. I just created a video for that as well. I'll link all of those. And there is a Sakila database. That's the one we're going to talk about right now. I've been using those. I have not used those two so far, but I probably will explore them soon. So the Sakila database, click on zip, which will download the zip. So let me go to my Finder. You can see Sakila-db.zip is downloaded. I'm going to double click it, and it's just going to extract it. On Windows, do the exact same thing. Like there's literally nothing different about it. That's why I'm showing it only on a Mac. But on Windows, the same thing. MAMP looks like this. Workbench, I don't have Workbench open, but Workbench is supported. I actually have it installed on Windows. So it's the exact same step. So here we are. I extracted the zip, and there are two files. There is a schema file and the data. So we have to run the schema first. So we'll create all the tables. Then we're going to load up the data. So let's go to Workbench. We're going to create a new document. Click on open, this little folder icon. Click on that. Then go to downloads. Go to Sakila DB. Where is it at? Sakila DB. So the first thing we need to do is the schema. So open the schema. All right. Now all you have to do, you don't have to do anything. Just click on the standard icon, which is a run icon. Execute. That is going to execute. Right. It should be quick. It just executed a lot of queries. Now if you come here, you still don't see the Sakila, right? It's not here because you need to refresh it. So click on this little refresh icon, click refresh. Now Sakila is there. So if you expand it, if you look at the tables, all the tables are there. Is there data? There shouldn't be any data because we just created the structure. So if I do right click, select, run the query, the table is there, but the data is empty. There is no data in there, right? So I'm going to open a new document, then I'm going to say open. Now I'm going to open the data, Sakila data. Those two are the ones what we downloaded. So I run the schema one, and now I'm going to run the data one. Double click that, do the same thing whilst the file is open. Click the execute. That's going to run a bunch of queries as well to load up the data. And now there should be data. If I go back to my previous tab and if I execute this guy, now there's data in here. You can also just right click, run select. Now there is data. So now you have your database all executed. Okay, you are good to go. All loaded. You can run queries, you can practice whatever the purpose of you loading the sample database is. Now the database is ready. And this is true whether you use Docker to run your database, whether you use XAMPP, AMPS, or MAMP like I'm doing. But MAMP is one of the easiest options out there. So that's it, you're pretty much done. But if you want to see how to do it from the terminal, I'm going to show you that too. Because if you look at the instructions, how to do it from the terminal, they do it how to load it up, they only show how to do it from the terminal box. So, and it's quick, so I'm going to show you. So first, let's delete it. I'm going to go to Sakila, drop schema. Drop means basically delete the whole thing, just get rid of it. Drop now, refresh, and it's gone. Even without refreshing it, it is gone. If I try to run this query, I get an error saying, hey, it doesn't exist, right? Let me bring it out here. Table Sakila film does not exist. So let's load it up. So I'm going to open up a terminal. I just created a video for the world database, so I'm still connected. So I'm going to do exit. All right, I'm exited. So I'm going to so this is going to be the command to connect. First, you connect to the database. So that's what they're doing here. So they understand they're trying to connect to the database, but they're assuming you're using everything default here. Default, which is localhost. The user is root and using no password. Or actually they're using a password. They assume you're going to provide your password, but they're assuming you're using a default port. That connection is not going to work for us because we're not using a default port. If you're using MAMP, most likely you're using a different port. So I'm going to connect using localhost 127. Use the IP address. When I actually type out localhost, it didn't work. Then use the port uppercase P to specify the port, uppercase P 8889. Lowercase u -u, the user root, and the password is also root. By the way, if you go open MAMP and go to web start, this will show you all the information about your MySQL, right? The host, localhost, or that, and then the port and the user and the password. That's how you connect to it. But I assume you already know that. All right, so I'm going to click on that. That created the connection. I'm connected. Now I'm going to run the command that they want us to run, which is the source command. I'm going to do source in the schema, and the source and the data. So let me get the full paths. So first the schema, right? I'm going to right click, get the paths, okay, and I'm going to do source that path semicolon. Every query is terminated by semicolon. Hit enter, no errors, perfect. If we go back to the database, to our connection, and look at it, refresh. Now Sakila is there. If we run this query, it's there, but there's no data. So time to execute the data. Sakila data, right click, copy the paths, go back to my terminal. I cannot do a clear here, so I'm going to do source, run that query, hit enter, no errors, voila. So now if I run the query again, now there is data. Okay, so you are good to go. You are all set up. You have the Sakila database loaded. Really easy. It took just a couple of minutes. I showed you how to use it using Workbench, which is the easiest option, and I showed you how to do it using the command line. Okay, that is also quite easy, really, for somebody who have used the command line. If you never used the command line before, that might be a little bit intimidating, but it is quite easy. All right, you are good to go, and your database should be all set up. If you have any questions, put them in the comment. I'll be very happy to answer them. If you like videos like this, subscribe, because my goal is to create videos for beginners, just teach beginners, all this IT stuff. I'm usually focused on Python and SQL and QA automation. I deal with testing. That's what I do most of the time. and I plan to create a lot of videos. So subscribe to my channel, like this video, help me out, you know, helps with the algorithm and everything. So hopefully you like it. Even if you don't like it, let me know. I would like to hear from you what you didn't like about it. Okay, thank you for watching.